Greetings, Matt Wilson here for another exciting video of a rock band, now defunct. Today we have Pink Floyd. I have spent some time looking for all of my Floyd merchandise, my Floyd memorabilia, and I have found most of it. Some key things I could not find, and I'm not going to frustrate myself anymore looking for them. So this might be another long video, so I'm going to start right away. Pink Floyd are one of the great UK psychedelic rock bands ever, possibly the greatest ever if you're just going to talk about psych. And of course later on they became Prog, and I'll tell you exactly what album I think that happened on. But we're going to start, as the story does, in 1967 with Piper at the Gates of Dawn. This is what you want if you want this on CD. This is 3 discs. You get the stereo, the mono, and then a third disc of various things. French edits, stereo versions of Apples and Oranges, an alt version of Matilda Mother, different take of Interstellar Overdrive. Anyways, great stuff. I do prefer Piper in mono. Always have. I know that there are some people who like the stereo version with the panning, which Sid had nothing to do with. Sid Barrett, of course, being the leader of the Pink Floyd at this time. This was my old disc. It's in a package. This was the first time that I can remember that the Piper at the Gates of Dawn was in mono on CD. But even though I did not mind the sound of that, this is better. Okay, to go to the next album in 1968, which is Saucer Full of Secrets. I don't have a standalone CD of that, so I'm going to go to the tried and true 1992 Shine On box set, which I've always enjoyed. Sound quality was pretty good for the time. I mean, it's been bettered, obviously. Like virtually any Pink Floyd package, it's pretty cool looking. Oh, this is nice. This is the singles. On Lane, Canyon of Currant Bun, See Emily Play, The Scarecrow, Apples and Oranges, Paint Box, It Would Be So Nice, Julia Dream, Point Me at the Sky, and Careful with That Axe, Eugene. These are all the 67 to 68 singles, most of which were not on the LPs. This is essential. All right, little booklet. I don't do unboxing videos, so right now I'm just looking in here to show you, and it's not even the best representation of the cover. This is Saucer Full of Secrets. These are the way that the CDs look in the Shine On box set. You know, they're shrunken down to the size. Saucer Full of Secrets is a good album though, 1968. There's also a mono mix of this, a true mono mix, which has never been on CD. They've reissued the vinyl, but so this is one of those, you know, missing mono mixes that I pine for. Sid is on this album a bit. Well, for sure he's on Jug Band Blues. That's, you know, he's playing and singing. I think he's on a bit of Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. He's on guitar with that, with Dave. And Seesaw, maybe, I think it's possibly 3 cuts. Anyway, so if Piper is a full-on, you know, Barrett album for Pink Floyd, he's still on some of the tracks here. All right, I quite like Saucerful. We move on to 1969 and 2 albums that year. Just got to find them because everything's spread out all over this table. Wouldn't you know it? Well, I'm looking for more, actually. While I look, here's the movie, More. And I like this because the one that comes in the early years box set, which I'll get to in a second, doesn't have subtitles. I like watching old movies with subtitles so I can get everything. This is the Blu-ray if you want it. And, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself if I can't find more. Here it is. It is the soundtrack for the film. You know, they took this on consignment. They were paid to make this music. It is obviously Pink Floyd music, but there are no, long cuts on here. They're watching film, clips of film, and then they're creating music to be played as the background. I like more, but it's not a masterpiece, but it's not intended to be. After that, in 1969, Umaguma, or Umaguma. I mean, I've always said Umaguma. That's what it looks like. It's half live and then half studio. The live stuff, pretty good. This was, growing up, this was the only live Floyd that we had that was officially released in the 60s, and there wasn't any live Floyd released officially in the 70s. The studio stuff, less impressive. I do like David's The Narrow Way. I like Roger's Grantchester Meadows. Not too much other things on here I think really work, but with those two cuts and the live album, makes this a worthy addition to your Floyd canon. Oh, look here, the poster, which comes with my CD copy. Great trippy, cover. They always had fantastic artwork, Pink Floyd. And I'm also going to say that the studio version, the studio album, is the first time I think that they're clearly prog. You see, they were always progressive. I'm differentiating between progressive and prog, even though prog is just a shortened way of saying progressive. But what we came to know as prog music in the 70s, Yes, Genesis, Crimson, Gentle Giant, Van der Graaf, etc. I'm going to consider Floyd a prog band from now on in their discography. Certainly from Adam Hartmother on. I know that there are certain prog people, should we call them, who have issues with that. They don't think Floyd is really prog. They don't think Jethro Tull is really prog. I don't have a problem with that. If you can go on any prog website or look at any encyclopedia of prog and see Pink Floyd and Jethro Tull, then I'm not going to have issues with that. So anyways, Umaguma is where I think that they're making the transition from just being a psych band to prog. And they're still psychedelic. So let's not mince words here. Here's Adam Hartmother. This is the Mobile Fidelity version. Sounds real good. It's the only version of this I've ever had on CD because Adam Hartmother is not in the Shine On box set. No? Anyways, I think it's really good. This is the first album that went to number 1 in the UK. It has the big, long Adam Hartmother suite. You can see it there. It took up all of side 1 on the vinyl LP. I don't mind the songs on side 2. I know some people have issues with them. I like If. Summer 68's a good Rick Wright. Rick Wright was a good songwriter at this time. I quite liked his songs in contrast, to Rogers or Sid's. And then, Dave does a great Fat Old Son. And then Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast is just more than 13 and a half minutes of a man cooking breakfast, and then there's kind of music as well, but it's just a bunch of sound effects. Floyd loved their sound effects. Anyways, Adam Hartmother, I like this better than either of the two 1969 albums. And then we get to Metal, the Mighty Metal. This, folks, is a classic. The way that Piper at the Gates of Dawn is a classic. I can easily say this is the first truly great one after Piper. It's much like, this is the Mobile Fidelity version again, it's much like Adam Hartmother in that it's got one side of, more or less normal length songs and then an epic song on the other side. The epic song, in this case, being Echoes, which is one of their truly great numbers. But I love, one of these days, they used to play that on the radio growing up, and there wasn't that many pre-Dark Side Floyd songs that they did play on the radio. That's one of them, okay? Pillow of Winds, Fearless Saint-Tropez. Only Seamus could, pass for filler on here, but I love this one. And to complete the pre-Dark Side of the Moon Floyd LPs, this is Obscured by Clouds. It is another soundtrack to a film. This time it's called The Valley. And there you go. That's the Blu-ray. I like the album. I like the movie. I will say, though, since I tend to think in terms of what's better, I do like the More album better than Obscured by Clouds, and I like the More film better than The Valley. But I like everything. I'm one of those Floyd fanatics who I can hang with any Pink Floyd album. As I get to these, as we keep going, I will tell you which ones I think are, less than. In fact, I skipped over Zabriskie Point. Did I not bring that out? I'm not gonna beat myself up for that. Zabriskie Point is I think, an interesting movie by Antonioni, who was a great Italian director. I prefer his films to Barbet Schroeder's, but they didn't do the whole soundtrack for Zabriskie Point. They just added, some stuff to the soundtrack, which was released at the time. It's a nice CD now, at least a double CD. I don't think I brought it out, but if I do find it in this huge pile of stuff on my table, I will show it to you. That's 1970. It's not the whole album of Floyd music the way that More and Obscured by Clouds are, but it's still Pink Floyd. Therefore, you gotta have it. Okay, before I leave this pre-Dark Side era behind, I want to show you guys. Oh, you know what else? Scratch that, because we've already kind of left the Syd Barrett era. I do like this Blu-ray which just came out. This is a Syd documentary. It's called Have You Got It Yet? The story of Syd Barrett and Pink Floyd. Not overly penetrating, but I mean, it's got a lot of interviews with people who knew Syd, and there's tons of stuff on Syd Barrett, guys, on YouTube if you want to go up there, and there's hours of interviews with people who knew Syd in the 60s, old girlfriends, roommates, stuff like that, and just all the four members of Pink Floyd have been interviewed extensively about Syd Barrett, and it's all on YouTube. But this is still a nice little way to fill some time, and it's got some footage of Syd I hadn't seen before. So there's that. Anyways, no, what I was reaching for was the early years box set. This is just a box set of CDs and Blu-rays and DVDs chronicling Pink Floyd pre-Dark Side of the Moon. And folks, I love this. It's one of my favorite box sets ever. Again, I wanted the unboxing thing for you guys, but I will show you what some of these things look like. What I truly love about this are the Blu-rays. There's so countless hours of video on here. You probably couldn't even watch it all in one weekend unless you just stayed up the whole time. Each of these sets is broken up into years. 65 to 67, Cambridge Station. 68, Germination. 69, Dramatization. 1970, Deviation. 1971, Reverberation. 72, Obfuscation. And then there's even an extra one, 67 to 72, Continuation. I'll just pull one out. I'll do it randomly here. I'm feeling it. Okay, what is this? This is 1970 Deviation. So you get, these are CDs. All right, now they're not, the complete albums. This is not a substitute for buying the Pink Floyd catalog. It's an addendum, it's in addition to. And then you get DVDs and Blu-ray. Both. You know, I don't know why you need DVDs if you got a Blu-ray player, but I mean, it's all the video, which is so cool. There's so many filmed concerts. There's so many filmed TV appearances on, you know, European TV stations. There's interviews, you know. You get Adam Hartmother in Quad. You get Echoes in Quad or 5.1. Anyways, I got this when it came out in 2016, and this totally reawakened my interest in Pink Floyd. I always liked Pink Floyd, you know, but this is what made me love them. So, you know, I can't guarantee it's going to have the same effect on you. It's out of print now. You know, it's one of those things that you got to get online, although you can also buy those individually. Used, of course, but nonetheless, it's I do recommend it. All right, putting that away. Okay, we are now at 1973. This is when Floyd begins to get really popular with dun dun dun, Dark Side of the Moon. This is the Immersion box set. I've said before on previous videos, I'm a surround sound guy. This, you know, this gives you surround sound mixes, not too much in the way of bonus stuff, but you also get a scarf and marbles, you know. But this is my preferred way. The album's also in the Shine On box set. I used to have the Mo Fidelity gold disc of Dark Side, but I gave it to a friend. But that's what you want to get. All right, this is what you want to get. Bunch of stuff in the back. Okay. 5-star classic album, you know that. Completely overplayed on the radio, but that is not the fault of the album. This is when Roger started to take over, but it's still, you know, fairly a group effort. He's starting to dominate, but it's not totally his album. 1975, Wish You Were Here. This is also the Immersion mix. That's what goes on the back. Same thing. It's not a whole lot in the way of bonus stuff, some live stuff. They were doing, you know, some of the Animals tracks like Raven and Drool, and at this point that wouldn't make it until the Animals album 2 years later. But it's Wish You Were Here in surround, you know, in 5.1 and whatever Dolby, and this album is as good as Dark Side of the Moon. It's growing up in the 70s and the 80s on what we now call classic rock radio. They played Dark Side and Wish You Were Here to death, to the point that it was oversaturation. But again, I want to stress, it's not the fault of the albums. Those are classic albums if ever you heard them. You know, they're as good as any Led Zeppelin albums, and Led Zeppelin was probably the most popular rock band of the 70s, at least amongst my generation. I was born in 1965. So, okay. Oh, I can tell you now some of the stuff I'm missing. 2 Syd Barrett albums, I like them both. 69 and 70, I think. Or are they both 1970? Anyways, it's the Madcap Laughs and Barrett. I have a nice long box set, and there's a 3rd CD called Opal. That's what I was racking my mind looking for today. Never could find it, you know. So apologies for that. And well, I can show you Animals, but I also have the 5.1 box of Animals. It is not one of those big immersion things. It's just a slim little box, and whatever. I can't stand when I do these shows and I can't find something because it's just, I don't know, it drives me crazy. Anyways, this is the Animals CD in the Shine On box set. Again, nothing. You gotta, in the Shine On box set, you gotta open it up to see the song titles. But great album, another classic. And the cool thing, see like that, the cool thing about Animals is the songs were too long to be played on the radio. So you rarely heard Animals on the radio, unlike Wish You Were Here and Dark Side, and, you know, maybe almost 40% of the wall, like, was over. overly played. So Animals is that cool album in that triptych. Actually, that quartet, if you want to include The Wall, of Pink Floyd albums in the 70s that didn't get a lot of airplay. All right, so love Animals. I do recommend the 5.1 mix. Okay, before I get to The Wall, should I give you the first David Gilmour album? Why not? 1978. Feels dusty. David Gilmour. All right, 9 cuts. Probably my favorite Gilmour record. Not as good as a Floyd 70s record. Not even Atom Heart Mother. Maybe as good as Obscured by Clouds. But this is just good. I mean, it sounds like David Gilmour. So when you hear, and Gilmour was the best vocalist that Floyd had. So to hear him do an album, you realize, okay, that's when I hear his voice, and you know, on a Pink Floyd song, this is David. You can distinguish him from Roger Waters, who isn't quite, you know, the vocalist that David is. This is a good album. I like it a lot. Wish it was a 5.1 mix. Richard Wright, Wet Dream. I want to say this is 78 too. This is the only Richard Wright album that I have, only one I've ever heard, only one I'm going to show you guys today. This is the surround sound mix. That's why I own it. It's, you know, it's all right. I'm not going to pump it up or big it up or try to make it seem more than what it is. I don't mind it. I don't play it a whole lot, but so I can't tell you if this is his best album or not. It's the only one I've heard, but I've heard that it is. So there you go. All right, so we come to 1979. I got The Wall and the Shine On box set. I'm going to show you this old Mobile Fidelity gold disc version. It's a little under-recorded. Even you know, the volume is not loud, but there's a booklet. I love The Wall. You know, I'm of that generation that does not have an issue with The Wall. If you go on the internet and you're looking at, you know, rock forums or Pink Floyd discussions, you're going to see a lot of guys that don't care for The Wall. They're going to say, oh, it's just Roger whining about his dad, or he's, you know, whatever. Okay, but that was a major record to my generation. You know, that came out in late 1979. A few months earlier, you know, we had Led Zeppelin's Into the Outdoor, and that was a big deal. But then the Floyd album came out and blew that Zeppelin album away. I mean, people were well into that album through 1980. And when we kind of were getting over it in 81, then boom, the movie came out in 82. So it was just a big deal for Floyd fans. But that's when the band was beginning to fall apart. It was happening before that, but that's when, you know, Roger I think he had fired, or, you know, Rick Wright, and hired him back on as a salaried employee or something like that. But and of course it's his album, and he wrote most of this. It's a Roger Waters, Bob Ezrin, the producer, record. Whereas, you know, David is adding his licks and his vibes, whatever, but he wasn't heavily involved in The Wall, and he doesn't claim it's a great album to this day. And you know how Rick feels about it. I don't know what Nick Mason thinks about The Wall, but I love it. To me, it's their last classic album. I would say, well, for sure, Dark Side, We Should Hear Animals on the Wall, to my estimation, are 5-star records. Metal is pretty close. If that's not a 5-star, it's 4.75. You might as well just say it's 5 classic albums in a row. So, okay. So now we've left Floyd in the 70s behind. Floyd in the 80s is not going to be such a magnificent beast, but that's all right. Let's keep going. Tell me I have the final cut here. I'm going to kill myself if I don't have this here. Jeez. I didn't look for the final cut before I started this video. Well, folks, I'm not going to knock myself over the head about this. can look for it. Okay, the final cut, Pink Floyd, 1983, the last LP of the classic lineup. Another Roger fest. It's, I've always, again, I know there's people who are huge fans of the final cut. I've always felt it's kind of a Roger, you know, wine fest a little bit. It's more stuff about his father and the war, and he's doing that kind of sing thing that he does where he's not really singing, he's just kind of talking like this, the final cut. Not Now John is a cool song that David sings, which should have gotten more radio airplay than it did. The album did not do nearly as well as previous Floyd albums, though. I don't know if that has anything to do with the band breaking up after that. I don't know, but I will tell you, it is my least favorite Pink Floyd album, even more so than what followed. So that's a divisive comment, because at this point in the band's career, you begin to get people who are either on Team David or Team Roger. I don't take a side, you know, in that, but I am bored with the final cut. Maybe that's Freudian. Maybe that's why I didn't look for the CD. But anyways, all right. So 84, Pink Floyd are still the band. This is David's About Face, right? I don't play this one nearly as much as I play the first album. It's not bad, you know. It came out so when David still had hair. It came out in 84, the same year as, I might as well do it at the same time, Roger's Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. Now, he had this idea, so there's much glare there. He had this idea of these songs, more or less, years earlier, because he presented this concept and The Wall to the rest of the guys at the same time. He said, you know, one of these is going to be our next album. Which one you guys want to go with? And they wisely went with The Wall. I like this one though. It's another concept album. You know, Roger loves his concept albums. This is a better album than About Face, by the way. And both in the same shot because they're both 1984. This was a time when Pink Floyd was still a band. I mean, we didn't know. I mean, I can't remember. I was 19 years old. I don't remember if we were thinking that Pink Floyd were going to break up at this time. So they were just, you know, releasing solo albums. And Roger's got Clapton on here playing some nice licks. Neither one of these albums produced radio hits, but neither did the final cut, you know? Rock radio stations at that time really weren't playing old super fart bands, that, you know, new stuff by the super fart bands anymore. They were playing the old stuff. And if they were playing new stuff, it was, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan or Phil Collins era Genesis or something like that. You know, not stuff like this. Okay, so they announced their breakup in 85, if memory serves. In 87, we get the new, okay. I've got to get another box. Hey, babe. I got to get this other box right here. I showed you the early years. This is the later years. All right. As of yet, there has not been a middle years box set, but I like this too. Again, all of this stuff is in surround. So I don't even know if they bother to reproduce the album covers in here, but if they do, I will show you. I will show you what a momentary lapse of reason looks like. God, there's just so much stuff in here. Here's I might as well show you some of this up here. Here's a lyric book. Here's another book. Okay, no, they're not doing that. Okay, so here's Delicate Sound. Well, Delicate Sound of Thunder is the live album. Or is this both? No, it's just Delicate Sound of Thunder. Pulse. Venice. Come on now. Later years. Documents. I'm looking for. Oh. It's in the Shine On box set. I just wasted my time looking for that. Now I gotta find Shine On. Way too much stuff. I need like an assistant to hand me. Oh man. I found the Shine On box, but not the CDs. Oh, found it. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay. A Momentary Lapse of Reason. Sorry that took 2 minutes to find that. 1987. This was going to be a David Gilmour solo album, but as with so often times it happens, the label says, well, you know, we can make more money selling a Pink Floyd record than we can a David Gilmour album. So he has Rick and Nick on here, not to the extent, though, that they are now, if you hear the re-recorded versions where they come in, they added more drums and keyboards. But it was a big hit. I mean, they played this on the radio. Almost every song on side one was a radio staple. So I like that. Yes, I like it more than the final cut, but you know, people who are on Team Roger will say, this is not Pink Floyd, you know. But then again, I know Syd Barrett fans who don't think it's really Pink Floyd without Syd Barrett. So who do you believe? Okay, Roger also did an album, 87, 88, I think it was 87, called Radio Chaos. It wasn't as successful as Pros and Cons, but I like it. That's one of the ones I couldn't find. I couldn't find that, Radio Chaos, and I couldn't find his last album, Is This the Life We Really Want? So I can't show you what those look like, but I like them both pretty much. Radio Chaos, even Roger doesn't like it because it's got that 80s production, you know, those synths and those echoey drums, but it's another concept album, but I don't mind it. I don't like it as much as Momentary Lapse of Reason, but it's good. All right. Then there is the first Pink Floyd live album in '88. It is well, I'm showing you this, but that's the CD from the later years box set. I don't know why I couldn't find Momentary Lapse of Reason. Wow. Anyways, it's live. It's good. What I like about the later years box set is, again, everything's in surround. You get everything from Momentary Lapse right through Endless River in 5.1. You get various concerts. I mean, this is one of them. This is filmed. Pulse was filmed. There's a Venice concert that's filmed. It's all in the box. Okay, so the later years, if that aspect of Floyd's career interests you, I do recommend that you pick it up. It's not as essential as the early years, and we'll see if there's ever going to be a middle years. Okay, so where are we now? We're in the early 90s. This is Roger Waters' Amused to Death. This is the 5.1 mix with some added recordings too, I think. I don't think this is just the LP or the CD. They futz with it a bit. He's got Jeff Beck on here, the way that he had Clapton on Pros and Cons. If Pros and Cons is not Roger's best album, this is. This is good, folks. This is I probably like this as much as I like Division Bell. It's close. All right, this is gonna do it for you. If you're looking to be impressed with Roger Waters, and this or Pros and Cons doesn't do it for you, then solo Roger Waters is not for you. All right. I don't know why I'm not seeing these album covers. Like, for instance, this is Pulse. I'm not seeing the Division Bell. Is Division Bell in here? Nope, it's not. Okay. Well, and there's Pulse restored and re-edited. Well, I might as well just show you these since I can't find Momentary Lapse or Division Bell. Okay, there's Delicate Sound of Thunder, which I already showed you. Here's the Venice concert. Here are some unreleased live films. See, there's just so much stuff on here. Like the early years box, you can just spend a whole weekend looking at this. Documentaries and unreleased material. You know what? Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe it's... Ah, I had it covered up, of course. Delicate Sound of Thunder again, and nope. Oh, here we go. Momentary Lapse of Reason and Division Bell. The last one I'm looking at. Again, these are not the album covers originally. It's just the way that they chose to do it on the later years. And since I'm almost done, I might as well just show you the rest. Okay, Venice concert, unreleased live films, and more documentaries. So, all right, folks, that was a really quick run through of the later years. Division Bell comes out in '94. I like it. By that point, radio wasn't playing Pink Floyd anymore. There are a lot of people who will tell you that Division Bell is a better album than Momentary Lapse. Again, that doesn't really interest me. Neither one is prime Floyd. To me, Pink Floyd is the 60s and the 70s. I don't think I played Division Bell more than I played Momentary Lapse of Reason, but if you want to say it's a better album, it does have more contributions from Rick and Nick. I will say that. Pulse was the live album that went along with it, just like Delicate Sound of Thunder went along with Momentary Lapse. I believe that kind of finished the 90s. I'm going to show you guys now some 21st century stuff from... Oh, Endless River is on there too. I won't pull out the Blu-rays again. Endless River is on the later years box set. Endless River is just outtakes that they were recording when they did the Division Bell album. In fact, it's mostly instrumental. It's nice just to put on for background music, but it's not something that I really ponder in a serious manner. Okay, here's this do David Gilmour first, since it's right here. There's a lot of cool David Gilmour box sets that are in surround. These are filmed concerts, and documentaries. This is 5 discs of David live in Gdansk. What is it? 2 CDs, 3 CDs, and 2 DVDs. All right. He plays a decent amount of Pink Floyd material. It's still David. He's still got his voice. It's cool. I like it. There's another one live at the Royal Albert Hall. It's called Remember That Night. This is 2 discs, Blu-rays. Video quality not quite as good, but the sound quality is great, and wonderful shows. I don't even know if I have a preference for these David Gilmour sets, because they're all great. He plays more or less similar sets, except he might be promoting the album that he's currently released a little bit more in one show over the other one. But here's a third one, live at Pompeii. Pink Floyd, of course, had a famous concert in Pompeii in the early 70s. That's in the early years box set. 2 CDs, a Blu-ray, documentaries. One of these, I think it's this one. Yeah, has the On an Island album, which is not bad. I think I prefer On an Island, David Gilmour's On an Island album, more than About Face. It's not great, but I'd say maybe about half of it works. You know, he's very mellow now in the 21st century. He's married to his wife Polly. He's happy. He doesn't have Roger in his hair anymore, and he's got an album coming out this year, which I've already pre-ordered, and maybe I'll do a show about that one day. But I like On. I mean, On Island would be my second favorite David Gilmour album. Anyways, that's on here in surround. And the last one I think I want to show you of Gilmour is his last album before the one that's coming out now, called Rattle That Lock, which I was not crazy about. This is in surround here. A CD, a Blu-ray, you know, 2-3 good songs, but can't say this is David, you know, coasting in his older age, which he has every right to do, but it doesn't excite me. Okay, I think I'm about done. This is a Nick Mason show that was filmed. It's a Blu-ray. It's also in surround. Nick was touring this show called Saucer Full of Secrets, named after the second Floyd album, just doing pre-Dark Side Floyd. In other words, the early years box set. Floyd, very good. I mean, I would definitely pay to see a band do early Floyd material, and if I can get a band to do that with an actual member of Pink Floyd, yes, I would have. I don't recall what I was thinking when they came around, because I don't remember, but I recommend that too. Okay, and I'm looking at my, well, what else? What is this? Here's The Wall, Roger Waters, Berlin, 1990. I must have bought this for something. Oh, you know what though? I have Roger Waters things to show you guys, so I'm glad I saw that. I like this. This is The Wall. Roger made a fortune when he toured The Wall some years back. That's what definitely boosted his bank account more than David's, is the money he made off this tour. It made a fortune. And this is a nice little filmed concert in surround sound. That's why I got it. But you know, it's filmed widescreen. You know, you'll enjoy this on your TV. The bigger the screen you have, the more you're gonna like that. This is great. This is my favorite live Roger Waters concert that was filmed also in surround, us and them. It's like a Roger Waters and Pink Floyd's greatest hits. He does a lot of, just like David Gilmour, he does a lot of Floyd material that he likes, his favorite songs that he wrote from Floyd. But this is really widescreen, just fills the room with sound. If you got the surround sound rig, really like that. And I thought I had a old DVD of Roger Waters around here somewhere too. But again, I'm not gonna waste my time looking for this stuff. So there you go. That was kind of a shambolic mess, wasn't it? That was my Pink Floyd show. I see it's been going on for 43 minutes, my longest video yet. So until next time, guys, Matt Wilson signing off.